Hey guys, welcome back to YB Sauce. Happy Tuesday. My name's Ellie. So this week we are doing a spooky week. So that's gonna entail all of us either telling spooky stories or, just kind of getting in the mood for Halloween. Since it is tomorrow, which is exciting. So I'm going to be giving you guys a story time. I'm going to tell you about my last house that I lived in before I moved into my house. And then I'm also going to tell you about the time that I encountered multiple spirits, and one of them was malicious. So, don't think it's going to be too scary to where you need to have your lights on. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. And let's get into this sniz snaz. Okay, so the first story I want to tell you about, it was about the last house that I lived in with my mom, my stepdad, and my brother. So we just leased this house, um, and it's a really pretty house and like a really nice neighborhood. But we were only there for a year. We only signed a lease for a year. But it was pretty haunted, I'm pretty sure, because so for like the first 3 months that we lived there, um, I would wake up and hear like children laughing outside my bedroom door, like in the house. And you can like tell when it sounds like something's in your house versus like outside, because my room led to a balcony, so I could hear a lot of like outside noises, but it literally sounded like these kids were in the house. And at first I tried to like play it off because my stepdad would like stay up really late, and like maybe he was like just listening to a like a TV, like watching a TV show, and it was like a laugh track. Um but no, it sounded like it was like when you walk past a school during recess and you hear all the kids laughing and screaming and stuff like that. That's literally what it sounded like in my house. No one else heard it though. And then on top of that, my brother, pretty sure there was a spirit like living in his room, like in his closet. Um, so there's this, like, for instance, so the way the house was set up, like, so we were upstairs, and so it was my room, my bathroom, and then my brother's room, and my brother's closet and my bathroom were adjacent to each other. Um, so so in his closet, every time I would just be like doing my makeup or like, just like cleaning my bathroom or something like that, like doing my business or whatever, like a normal human does. And I'd hear like knocking when no one else would be home. I'd hear it like on like the wall that was like adjacent to his closet. Um, and so I was like, that's weird. And then there were like instances where his bed, like, he usually left his bedroom door closed because we had a dog, and like Jax is notorious, like he loved pooping in the house before, like, so we just like closed it because we also have a really like gnarly cat named Portland, and he just loved pooping everywhere. But so my brother would leave his door closed a lot of times, and I would walk past it. I would go downstairs and it would be closed. But then when I came back up, all the pets would be downstairs. I would be home alone and the door would be open. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And then yeah, I like lived in his closet. And then there was like a light switch on the outside of his closet, and it would flip on and off, like the light would flip on and off by itself. Um, and then the creepiest instance in that house, I guess, for me, like in my brother's closet, because we used to just like, me and my brother just like hang out all the time, like we're like super close or whatever, me and my little brother. And so me and Noah were in his room, we were just like chilling or whatever, and he asked me to, so like he was like moving out, or he was packing or something like that, and so he asked me to help him get some clothes from his closet. So I was like, yeah, no problem, like no big deal. And my brother was in his room packing and stuff like that, like just talking to me, and I asked him to hand me something. And his closet wasn't that big, so like, but I was facing the back wall of the closet, so his closet had a window in it. And so I, like, if you walk into the closet, there's the back wall, and then the window's on the side, and then there's like a shelf next to the window. And I asked him to hand me something off the shelf, and I like held my hand out, and then instantly, when I asked for it, I think I asked for like a pair of socks or something like that, and he wasn't Noah, but the socks still ended in my hand while my hand was out, and I remember being like, oh, thanks, but like, thanks, Bubs, because that's what I call my brother. And he was like, he like walked into the room and was like, why are you thanking me? Because he came back in with like a Diet Dr. Pepper in his hand. So I was like, what? And then on top of that, there was like a music room that we swear is like, my brother, okay, my brother would never go in there. I would never go in there. Unless like my stepdad was like the only person that would just like go in there and hang out, because that was also kind of like his office, and like my dog hated going in there. He'd always bark at the walls, and like he'd bark at the closet, and it just felt like every time he walked in there it was always like super cold, and that was the room that like never had the fan on, the window was closed. It was like the most like drafty, I guess. And I mean, it's upstairs, and like the AC would be off upstairs, so like, because me and Noah are always cold, so like, and then but yeah, it would be off all the time, and my dog would just bark at the closet, like right next to the thermostat. My dog would just bark at the closet, and we were like, Jax, quit. And then that it wasn't until a guitar pick hit me in the back of the head when I was in there, and no one was behind me, because I was talking to my stepdad, and his desk was in the corner, and the guitar pick was over by the closet, and the closet door was open. So when I turned around and there was no one in the closet, because it was an empty closet, so like no one could have hidden in that closet without me seeing them, and yeah, a guitar pick hit me in the back of the head, and I bolted out of that room so fast. I refused to step foot in that room until like my last day before I moved out. Most terrifying experience. Not terrifying, but like a pretty terrifying experience. Like, no, there's no way that I went back into that room. So okay, so the second story I want to tell you about is the time that I stayed at my friend's house on Halloween night. This was back in 2014. So my friend, let's call her Woody. I'm looking at a Toy Story pillow. So Woody. So I was staying over at Woody's house on Halloween night in 2014, and we were passing out candy because at the time we thought we were too cool to trick or treat. Not the case. Anyway, not the point. So that night, it was very like, so her house is also like, it's like legitimately haunted. But that night, like that's when like she told me stories beforehand. I never like believed it because like nothing had ever happened to me at that point. But that night was the like night that solidified that her house was haunted. So basically she lives like maybe like two neighborhoods away from me, literally. So I was staying the night at Woody's house. We were on her couch watching Ghost Adventures. Now, if anyone knows Ghost Adventures, they're like just like messing around and stuff like that. Like you hardly ever get like content. So me and Woody were like, hey, let's have our own ghost adventure. So we went into the guest room, which was the room that one of her relatives passed away in. So we went into that room, and we didn't have like a Ouija board, but we had like a pendulum. And if it like circles one way, if it goes one way, it's yes. If it goes one way, it's no. And like you can use it to talk to spirits, literally. So we had a pendulum, and we asked if her relative was present with us, and her relative responded and was like, yes, I'm this relative. And so we were like, okay, so like, and her relative was a very like not soft spirit, but like like a harmless spirit. That's the word. She was a harmless spirit. So we felt safer, I guess, like knowing that that spirit was present with us, and like if a harmful spirit came, it wouldn't be like, you know, like the relative spirit would like kind of protect us, I guess. It just makes sense in my head. Anyway, so that night we were talking to her relative through the pendulum, and then, you know, us being 17, we were like, hey, what if we decide to ask if there's any more spirits in this house? You know? Like, wow, what a wacky idea. And so, I mean, Woody was like, she was like into it, but like she was kind of scared. And I mean, so was I, because like we knew, because you know, Woody's house is quite, I think it's as old as my dad's house, because my dad grew up in the house that we live in, and that house has been there since like before my dad was born. I want to say like maybe 10 years before my dad was born, so like the 50s. But you know, so we did that, and then we asked if there were any other spirits other than Woody's relative, and there were. And that's when we got like really freaked out. And then we didn't ask if it was like a demon or anything, because like we knew better. Like, we're not dumb. We'd watch enough Ghost Adventures to know. But then we made contact with it. We found out that there were 3 other spirits in the house that night. And you know, Halloween night's a very spooky night in general, so like we were even spooked out like even more than like we normally would have been if it had been like November 1st. So like, you know, we were freaking out. And I got the feeling that like the presence at the time that we were talking to at this point in time was a very malicious spirit. So I told Woody, I was like, girl, we need to stop. Like, we really need to stop. Like, I don't feel good. I'm starting to get nauseous. And like, I just didn't feel good. I was getting lightheaded. I was nauseous. I felt like I was going to throw up. And like, I started feeling very faint. And Woody like noticed this. And so we tried to say goodbye, but the spirit wouldn't let us say goodbye. And so Woody was like, hey, as I mentioned in the last video, I'm diabetic. So Woody was like, hey, like Ellie's blood sugar is low. Like, we need to go. So please say goodbye to us. And then after that, the spirit said goodbye. And I still did not feel good. I felt like for the entire night, I felt that like I was either going to throw up or I was, you know, like, and I felt like I was being watched like the entire time, because we went back into the living room and we started watching Criminal Minds, and in that entire time, like the room that we were in, the one that Woody's relative passed away in, I could like see it from the couch where we were in her living room. So I was like, I don't feel comfortable, like I feel like I'm being watched. So then we went to bed that night. We slept on the couch in the living room because we felt really spooked and we didn't want to go into the hallway near the room that we were in. And yeah, I literally woke up. So there was 2 couches. I slept on the love seat because I'm smaller than she is and I could fit on the love seat. So Woody slept on the big couch and I slept on the love seat. And you know, and they're pretty far apart. And then Woody's dog, it sleeps in like the kennel. So at the time, the dog slept in the kennel. So I remember feeling like super uncomfortable while sleeping. We closed the door to the hallway because there's a door that leads to the hallway. So we closed that door to kind of give us like peace of mind. It didn't work. And that entire night I still felt like I was being watched. When I fell asleep, I felt someone sit on the couch like right by my feet. And I was facing Woody, so when I opened my eyes and I saw her on the couch, I was like, okay, there's like no one. I couldn't look down because I was too scared. But no one, I'm pretty sure no one was on the couch. Like, no one of this realm was on the couch with me. And, oh, my hood's falling off. No one of this realm was on the couch with me. So I was like freaking out. But eventually I mellowed out. I went to sleep. We watched Drake and Josh to fall asleep because it's, you know, it's a good non-spooky show. So we mellowed out and I fell asleep. But when I woke up, that's where the tea comes. Sorry, I have to wipe my nose. I'm sick. Anyway, so when I woke up, that's where the tea gets piping hot, ladies and gentlemen, whatever gender you are watching this, we are inclusive. Anyways, so I woke up and I had blankets on. I had like 3 blankets on top of me because her house is very cold, which is weird because we live in Texas and it's never cold. But I had 3 blankets on top of me, and I literally woke up with I had 3 claw marks on my calf, like 3 like long nail marks on my calf. My calf was in a lot of pain, and then I had a bruise on my thigh, and it looked like someone took their like knuckles and just like went in. So I was like freaked out, and it was on my right thigh. And it was like where, you know, like where it hurts. And that's where it looked like it was. So I was starting to get really freaked out. And Woody was like, Ellie, you need to look at your arm. And I was like, what's on my arm? And again, me has to take off my hood for dramatic effect. Y'all, there was literally 3 claw marks, like right here, but it was on my left, and the 3 claw marks on my leg were also on my left. So I was like, Woody, I need to leave. Like, I don't feel comfortable being here. So I called my dad, and I was like, Dad, it's me, Ellie, your favorite daughter. I need you to come pick me up because I'm at Woody's house and I feel unsafe. So then we let the dog, before my dad came to pick us up, we let the dog out of the kennel, and the dog went ballistic before like we opened like the hallway. Because okay, so like the way our house set up, it's like you go in, it's living room, and then it closes, there's a door that closes off the hallway to the bedrooms. And so we had that door closed for peace of mind. But we opened up the doorway because the bathroom is over there, and I had to pee like really bad. And the dog went ballistic and would not let me go. So I was like, that's tea. Thank you for protecting me. But yeah, so I have only spent the night at that house once since then, and that was 3 years ago in 2015, around Christmas time, and I still felt really spooky. Every time I go over to her property, I feel like I'm being watched. Yeah, it was insane. That's my craziest, like, I guess, like, paranormal story. I mean, I have more, but I don't want this video to be, like, too long. Because my last one was so long. So, but yeah, that's one of my many paranormal experiences. That's the spookiest one because it literally took place on Halloween, and I was freaking out because the dog would not let me into the hallway. Like, y'all. Yeah, so it was insane. But at least me and Woody are still friends. We still talk every now and then. We don't really hang out as much. Last time I hung out with her was like a month ago. I still like refuse. I don't like refuse to go to her house, but like her house literally gives me the creeps because of that one Halloween night. So fingers crossed that like I never have another paranormal experience. I mean, like, that's probably like improbable, that because it's pretty sure it's bound to happen, but like if I can get away without it happening, that would make a very happy Ellie. So okay guys, so that does it for today's video. I'm so glad that you decided to stick through it all. You guys are amazing. If you want to give a thumbs up, if you want to leave a comment, if you want to subscribe, go ahead and do it. I will not be mad about it. I will actually love you forever. If you want to actually comment, I will start giving shout outs every Tuesday. But yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing week. I hope you enjoy the rest of the girls' videos this week, and I will see you next Tuesday.